Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so Lakers really embarrassed the hell out of themselves yesterday, man. They really did. uh, and a lot of the conversation surrounding the team was about Luka's struggles and the role players shooting the ball poorly as well, and JJ Redick not utilizing Dalton Connect and some of the stuff that went with that just made us look worse, man. And you can't have all those things going wrong in a big game. It wasn't just that all that was going wrong is a win. And so, yeah, man, we felt bad about this game, man. I ain't gonna lie. After having a big win against the Rockets where everything seemed to go right, it was almost like we poured so much of our interest into the Rockets game and forgot to game plan for the Golden State game. And so, JJ's got to find a way to really adjust what he's doing in the game to fit what it is that's coming at him. I know that's something that we've said about other coaches in the past. He needs to be able to be good at that too in order for us to be as good as we want to be. You can't win every game. Certain things you just got to live with the fact that you have disadvantages. Live with the fact that guys can't hit shots on a given night, or that somebody was going crazy on the other side. All of those things were happening at the same time yesterday. But at the same time, it was like, with all that being said, I think there were some things that we worked against ourselves in regards to. And maybe if we didn't do those things, you still win the game. So, I don't know. It's tough. Because I tried to make the argument last night in my post-game reaction that we need to get the ball to Luka more. But he really was having a bad night shooting the ball and was trying to work his way out of it, throwing possessions away because of it. Now, you can overcome that if other guys aren't struggling abnormally too. Gabe Vincent having an abnormally bad shooting night. He snapped back into his old Gabe Vincent ways. And then you got the same thing going on with Dorian Finney-Smith. He couldn't hit a shot either, so it made it even worse for our team as well. That was going on at the same time. It's just a lot of stuff, man, that made the Lakers really struggle, man. As a team, I thought our defense was poor on top of all that going on. And then at the same time, you got Podziemski having a career night. Steph's getting to the line more than he mostly would. It was too many things. Too many things going against the squad, man. And if we're going to win basketball games, some stuff you just got to live with. I had a hard time with living with some of that stuff we saw yesterday. I had a hard time with some of that. And so that's my point of view with the Lakers. I think if you play that game 10 times, you probably don't see a lot of that stuff twice that happened. A lot of things had to work for the Golden State Warriors to get that victory on the road there. That I don't know that they're going to see work as well for them in the playoffs. So I'm not afraid of the Golden State Warriors after what I saw yesterday. They needed a lot of things to go in their favor. But the Lakers got to rebound the ball better. Dribble penetration was a real problem yesterday. Everybody they wanted to see get into the paint, they got them there. To their spots, the drive and kick, drive and shoot teardrops, lay the ball up. Guys like Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, they were getting in there. Steph Curry, they were getting in there, man. Jimmy Butler, everybody was getting in our paint and able to create from there. I had a real problem with all of that. All of that was a bit of an issue for me. And so, that's what I want to express. Dalton Connect not getting on the floor. It's that. I know his defense is bad, man. Okay, I think that he's been able to stumble into some success defensively here and there throughout the course of the minutes given to him this season. But once in a while, he got a block here. Look at this length helps your defense. But his positioning and the way he thinks basketball, his defense is not a strength at all. And it's a real liability. And I support the idea that for the sake of his defensive deficiencies, we don't necessarily lean on him. But last night, when your bench was especially poor and your defense wasn't stopping anybody, what's the harm of bringing him in? What's the harm of bringing him in? Nobody's stopping anybody any damn way. And you need the scoring. So to me, it just seemed like we were married to the game plan. And coaches who are married to game plans tend to lose at this level when they do sometimes. You can't just be stuck in what it is you're doing and then not see a way to audible out of stuff when you're when you're coaching at this level or playing at this level. It's too high of a level, man. And if you're going to be married to the game plan, you're leaving meat on the bone as it pertains to your productivity. As to where a lot of people just think, well, if the game plan don't work, we just have to lose. No, the hell we don't. No, the hell we don't. Because what you can do is identify what the issue is and shift your game plan. Step away from your game plan to shift into things that are going to help you defend against what's coming at you. You don't have to live and die with the game plan. And I think that's where you get a separation between great ball clubs and coaches and average ball clubs and coaches. Average ball clubs and coaches think they have to lose if their game plan isn't working. Great ball clubs and coaches are going to adjust out of their game plan to fit what's coming at them and force the other team to adjust to what it is that they see. Being married to the game plan, if your limitations are the game plan itself, as it pertains to what it is you can do for yourself, then you're just not as good as you need to be on this level. It ain't deeper than that. Be better and you will see better. But if you don't adjust, then you're just going to live and die with what you get. And you're going to get beat by somebody who don't have that problem. Been watching this for 30 years. That's what it's always been. Either you adjust or you're just not good enough. And so JJ going to have to figure out who it is he believes himself to be. Because that's really what it is. I ain't but to sit here and let somebody just continue to beat the hell out of me because, well, I did homework on this and this is what we did this is what we came up with last night. And we gonna it works. I'm gonna believe in it. It works. And they're kicking my tail and they beating that game plan to death. And it's like, well, I guess we can't win. Nah, hell no. I mean, that's not what a great team's going to think when they're trying to win a basketball game. Is that we cannot win because what it is that we worked on cannot work. Nah, hell no, bro. Get you the hell out of here and bring me somebody who can adjust in real time. That's always been my attitude when it comes to coaches like that. Because we've seen coaches like that on our side and the other side. And those coaches always lose, bro. And they always just sit there with their shoulders shrugged like there's no other way. Or try to tell us some bull crap about, well, you just can't win every game. Well, I know that. But let the other team see that I tried to adjust to what they were doing in real time before I can see that I cannot win. Make them adjust to my adjustment instead of continuing to work on what's working against me before I start believing that I can't beat them. Show me they can mold into whatever they need to in order to fit my adjustments. Then, if they can continue to mold as I continue to adjust, I will concede, we can't beat them. They're an ever-changing entity. We can't get in front of them even when we make adjustments. We're just outmatched. Fine, I can live with that. But the way that these coaches tend to operate and the way these losing teams tend to operate, it's like, no, they think if what they had isn't working, then that's a loss that they can concede because, well, there's no other way. Like, nah, you just don't see it. That don't mean I gotta live and die with your ability not to see. Hell no, bring me somebody who can, period. And so that's really what it was. I thought that we ran into a little bit of that last night with JJ. And so that's my point of view. I think if he's going to become a great coach, he's going to figure out how to adjust. And I think he's smart enough to identify when something's not working. Question is he going to be too locked into what it is he believes should be done all the time, or whatever, locked into what it is he devised is going to work for 48 minutes as it's continuing to not work or not. So that's my point of view, man. I hope that we can get it together as a team. I expect for us to get it together as a team. I expect we have a coach that's smart enough to be able to learn on the fly what works and what does not, and then from there be able to adjust to what it is he identifies in the moment and learn from mistakes. That's really what it's about. We got to learn from mistakes fast enough to where we don't seem to make some of the same mistakes twice. And especially if we're going to be a win now basketball team with Hall of Fame players expecting to win basketball championships and all this. It can't be a situation where we're just saying, well, the game plan didn't work, so I guess we just got to take this loss. Hell no. Just that game plan and give us an opportunity to win. You know, and one of the adjustments I thought he should have made last night was putting Dalton on the floor. Letting Dalton jack up a few threes. See if he can't create enough space, draw enough attention, have a big night. We've seen him do it twice this year against Utah and against Phoenix in the preseason. Can he not have a big enough night last night in limited minutes to make it so that now they got to adjust to him? Maybe opening up the door for us to not be so reliant upon the shot making of Gabe Vincent and Dorian. You know, give Luka another option from which to pass to. And that type of stuff is like, you're going to get a better result if you have somebody in place making decisions that can think like that on the fly. And so that's what I ask that our team figure out, man. I ask we figure that out. So yeah, man, we're going to get it right, though. At the end of the day, we're going to get it right. So, man, at the end of the day, our team is much better when we leave ourselves many options of attack and not be locked into any dang thing, really. Our team is basketball is a better sport when you leave yourself room, you know. And so, for me, as a fan, I understand that there are a lot of things about the game that I don't understand. Maybe closing up one hole opens up three, you know, those type of things. I leave room for the experts to tell me. But at the end of the day, I've seen teams adjust. I've seen teams shift and mold themselves to be what they need to be. I've seen teams use a lot of different strategies within one game that is damn near impossible to keep up with. So you can't really tell me that you only can stick to one game plan or whatever. One style is only. I don't think that even equates to what it is I've already seen. So yeah, tonight we got a Pelicans team. I think the Lakers, as bad as they need this win, maybe they feel like they've had enough rest with the 2 days off that we had in between the Rockets game and the Golden State game last night. But I don't think it would be bad to rest somebody. I don't know who you're going to rest, but I don't think it would be bad to rest somebody. You know, Luka's been dealing with that elbow. And I'd forgotten about that when reacting to this game last night. But he is dealing with an elbow. He probably ain't going to tell nobody it's a problem. But he also hasn't been hitting shots. You know, that thing was iced in the last game against the Rockets. And then he fell on it after that. So it's like that thing has already been a problem. Is it not affecting his shot? I ain't heard nobody say it is, but he's not hitting shots, man. His three-point shot has been bad for a couple of games now, and it's really affected our offense. Because what he does is take shots without other people touching the ball a lot of times. And when it's falling, it can be devastating for the other team. When it's not, it's devastating for us. So we got to consider what we want to do with Luka, because as much as I want him to have the ball in his hands, it's as bad as I need him to kind of shift a little bit into playmaker mode rather than having us live and die with his shot making while he's not on. You know, and that's a real thing. And then we got to do a better job of putting legitimate passing threats on the floor. People we can actually see hitting shots off of him. We got him down there with a bunch of defensive players to make up for the fact that his defense isn't strong. But as a result, he's also not able to use these people at all on the offensive end. So what you end up having is yourself being capped off to having to hit shots in order to be successful. Him specifically being asked to hit shots in order for the team to have any success on the offensive end. Just so that you can make your defense competent. And I just think that has to be picked and chosen carefully. And you can't have some preconceived notion about what you're going to do. In that regard, that you won't deviate from, regardless if it's working or not. That, I think that was a big part of the mistake yesterday. It's too much us relying upon people who just were not able to hit shots so that we can maintain our defensive continuity around Luka. He recognized these people can't hit shots, understand himself to be a superstar, needs to hit shots. He gonna take shots that are not falling himself, and everybody's on the floor cold, and we're not getting stops because our defense isn't necessarily elite when we do that. So it was a lot of bad out there, man. I think that team would have been, I think our game would have been a more significant loss if we just simply had an average shooting night from Austin and LeBron. We could have lost by a lot of points. Because of LeBron and Austin being on fire and shooting very efficiently throughout the course of the night, we were able to stay close. But on a lot of nights, if we're shooting the way that we normally shoot, you probably lose that game by 10, 12 points if it goes the way it did. You just can't count on that, man. You can't count on that. And so that's my thing. I want the Lakers to understand you cannot count on that. You can count on Luka hitting shots the majority of nights when he's feeling right. But as long as he's not hitting shots, you have to keep offensive threats on the floor. You have to. And so that's where you understand that Dorian may have it. Last night he didn't. Gabe may have it. Last night he didn't. Okay, now you shift into Dalton. Now you shift into Dalton. See if he has it. Because you have that as an option. You see what I'm saying? You don't have to live and die with what you have there because you have Dalton Connect, who is an offense all to himself when he's on. I don't have to live and die with Gabe Vincent and Dorian Finney-Smith. And so that's where we end up getting in trouble, thinking we had to live with those people last night without having another option. It was another option. We just didn't choose it. And so for me, I just get frustrated with that type of stuff. Really frustrated with that type of stuff. And in hopes that the Los Angeles Lakers will learn from last night's tape on what it is that we didn't adjust from toward what it is we need to adjust to. Maybe next time something like that happens where Gabe and Dorian are having bad nights. Dorian's been pretty consistent over the last couple of games, up until last night. He had really been hitting shots well. Vincent too. Those guys they have been on a high streak. Role players, sometimes shots fall, sometimes they don't. They're not superstars. Even superstars, obviously with Luka Doncic, as we clearly see, have off nights. Can't always count on them either to hit shots. Shots either going to fall or they're not. But we are heavily relying upon them falling, and that is something that we need to be honest about. We are, at this point, a jump shooting basketball team. All the more reason why removing Dalton Connect from the rotation is egregious. Because you're a jump shooting basketball team, and he might be your most talented natural jump shooter. He might be. When you talk about his upside and what he projects to be in this league, an elite shooter, 3-level scorer. And that's exactly the MO of your basketball team. So, I don't know, man. I almost think that it's reasonable to believe. And I didn't really need a big game from Dalton Connect. I just needed him to hit a couple threes. I just needed him to be able to hit 3 shots from behind the arc so that people had to pay attention to him. That opened up more for the rest of the team. Because their defense was loading up on us. They were playing good defense, and the fact that we weren't hitting shots made it so that it was easier for them to do so. You needed somebody out there who was going to hit shots last night. So that's the bottom line, man. Just a few regrets about leaving that game on the table. And then you think about previous games where you lost and you know damn well you should have won. The Chicago games, the Dallas game that we lost earlier in the season, the missed free throw game against Orlando, Philadelphia. You know, it's been a couple of games this year, man, more than a few, where you just say, damn it, that is why you need to win those games, because you may have games like Golden State where Pod go for 8 threes. And Steph Curry gets to the line 14 damn times. You know what I'm saying? You will not win those games. So what must happen is you taking care of the ones that you're most responsible for if you want to be a good team. And I felt the Los Angeles Lakers really dropped the ball at times against teams we had no business losing to. Charlotte Hornets, the Utah Jazz. I mean, those are wins you really needed so that it wasn't so important that you beat Golden State last night. And so I just think that every time we look up and we find ourselves in a play-in tournament, or we find ourselves, you know, in fighting for seeding as we are right now, what you end up looking back on around this time of year is those games that you dropped, that you knew you should have won, that you farted around, that you didn't take teams seriously. You know what I mean? Not necessarily the ones where you rested off of back-to-backs. So you lose those games, you know you're going to lose those games. You work those into the equation. But the Utahs, the Charlottes, Philadelphia, Chicago, you do not want to lose those games. That's 6 games that we should have won. We would be locked into the 2 seed if we would have won those games, ladies and gentlemen. Locked in, damn near. And so, going forward, future seasons, the teams that understand that they can't take nights off, that they can't be foolish, that you got to hit your free throws and stuff like that, box out all the little things, those are the teams that usually find themselves with less to stress about in the early April, mid-April. These are, you know what I'm saying? These are the teams that don't have so many problems. They can rest players. They can find themselves in a position to where they sitting people in the fourth quarter with 10-point leads, stuff like that. You don't have to keep fighting so hard because you're taking care of business against all these bad teams that don't want to win. You losing the teams that don't want to win will definitely assure that you're fighting at the end of the season every single year. In a tanking league where you know there's going to be about 8 teams that most definitely want to lose, you got to beat all of those teams, man. And we haven't. And so we struggle trying to hold on to the 4th seed, possibly falling to the 7th seed and all this other stupid crap, clustered with other teams that did the same damn thing. They too probably lost to Utah and Charlotte, and that's why they fighting with you. It's the teams that didn't have that problem that find themselves comfortable right now. And so that's my point of view. I just wanted to say that. I think it's an important point, man. Los Angeles Lakers in the first half of the season, they've done a wonderful job for the most part, not having that happen. The second half of the season, we didn't do a wonderful job. We let teams beat us that were tanking. Several of them. In egregious fashion. Team that was resting all of their stars. Yeah, that type of thing, man. You taking L's. And so tonight we face a Pelican team that got that same thing going on. All their stars, all their main role players, everybody's sitting. They only put people out there that are either hopefuls, salute the Kobe minute, or individuals that are likely trying to play for a contract, hoping to stay in the league somehow, hoping to stay relevant in regards to the trade market so that they can find themselves being signed. That's the people who are going to be playing tonight. We ain't got no business losing to Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, Carlo Matovic. You know, none of these people, man. Keon Brooks, whoever the heck that is. Jose Alvarado, that's who you're facing tonight. JRE. These players, God bless them, man. They role players, bro. They're not supposed to ever beat no team that LeBron James and Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves on the floor with. I'm sorry, they're not. They're not ever supposed to beat you, bro. You're supposed to play. If you play them 100 times, you're supposed to blow them out 100 times. And so I'm curious to see if the Lakers are going to have that type of mentality tonight. Or are they going to fart around, play with their food, play down to the level of the opponent, and then find us in a tough game with a team like this. We should see Bronny minutes tonight. Okay, that's what I'm here to say. We should definitely see Bronny minutes tonight. It shouldn't be no issue with garbage time being available to us. We should beat this team by at least 23 points, man. BDL 44. I thank y'all for watching. I'm out.